itself. Yes, I'm putting all these categories as very much from a different perspective, but obviously when we come back to the questions and answers, we will talk about the science and impact of science on society and also the environment. Okay, looking at the question, who should science serve? And what is the purpose of science?
Because in my industry, what we are doing now, we are looking at green building.
Yes.
As opposed to just building, whether it's to sustain the environment and to look after the community, not just for profit for the country.
That should fall under the category of science or either science and nature itself.
So there was a worldview that assumed that science can control. With control comes domination. Okay, so going into the Sarawak jungle and clearing trees is for development. You take the trees so we can build houses. But nobody thought at that point in time that when you are tearing down nature, you are upsetting the ecosystem. And then the whole Gaia hypothesis that the Mother Earth will strike back.
The whole larger concept exists, like Joy pointed out, and pointed out says. The question is that, what have we done, taken from nature, and turned nature into technology, and capitalized on what we plunder, and turn that into applications, and how does that impact society in terms of that? Everything that we take everything is from nature. Again, like I mentioned last week, the Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu said that we begin the act of destruction as soon as we carve the stone. Yeah, we're carving the stone. It's actually, we're taking the stones and doing everything with the stone. But had we left the stone alone, then going back to nature, we would not have any much of planted the seeds of destruction. Because capitalism is about planting the seeds of destruction. And this is about science. When we look at in 1800s, when science began to merge with industry and capitalism, that's when the destruction began. But science, in the beginning of it, is about the understanding or the acquiring of knowledge, understanding who we are, what we can do, what do we create, and understanding what the world means to us and how it begins. Right? Shara? Go ahead. We have always we talk about science as if science is all about modern science. Modern science only began during the Industrial Revolution. And it started off during the time of the Renaissance. Renaissance simply means rebirth, in which human beings begin to say that, well, we're not going to think about how religion or the Catholic Church then control our mind. It is about how we celebrate our humanness. How we celebrate that we are essentially human beings who can control our own destiny. And that is not new. That is from the Greek tradition. If you look at the Greek paintings, the Greek sculpture is always about muscles and also unity and everything, because they celebrate the power of the human self. And it gets buried, right? That concept of human as powerful gets buried, right, until Renaissance period. Took that out and said that, well, this is a new beginning. And there was a response against the control of religion. And after that, after the Renaissance period, we began to look at the scientific revolution, and then after that, the Industrial Revolution, and then moving on to the Information Revolution, and here we are now at the Post-Information Revolution. So from that on, science has been a domain of Western science. But in the past, it has not been such. As we know, the Sumerians science is beginning to use science to civilize or to begin to build civilization. The Mohenjo-daro and Harappa civilizations in the Indus Valley is about scientific application of knowledge to build a more sane living. The Egyptians, the science of mummifying, for example, how do you preserve this? The building and the pyramid itself. Some people say the pyramids were built by the aliens. That's again, that is hypothesizing and also looking at what the origin of things. And in Hinduism also, during the time of Ashoka or the great empires of India, scientific knowledge is actually hidden. It's a very well-kept secret. And sometimes the knowledge of 2,500 years ago that can cure cancer, do a lot of things now, is still need to be deciphered, taken out. But that is science, sometimes even more powerful than Western science these days. Chinese. One of the greatest inventions of the Chinese, of course, gunpowder is one, but if you look at Shen Ho, Zheng He, you know, the science of building navigational power is so profound that if you compare the Armada ship that was built by Lakshmana Zheng Ho, Zheng He, to Columbus ship, it's almost like this whole room compared to this room. And in fact, you know, people are beginning to write saying that now Zheng He or Shen Ho is the first one to circumnavigate the world. It's not. But because science and the knowledge of science has been pushed onto us from a very Western-centric point of view, that we begin to see, cannot see that these are actually ethno-science that was very dominant throughout the period of human civilization. And of course, the Muslim contribution. During the time of Islam, especially during the civilization in Baghdad, for example, right? So the time of the reign of Harun al-Rashid, whoever translates the work of the Greeks, you know, this is how many pounds this is. If you translate the work of Plato, Al-Falato, if you translate it into Arabic, then you get whatever weight in gold. And then Baghdad, as the West knows, is a place where the Americans bombed to pieces. But Baghdad was the center of civilization. And the most celebrated philosopher of that era was very honored by the Renaissance thinkers, was Ibn Rushd, philosopher and scientist. Such that the painting, if you observe the painting of Raphael, Italian Renaissance painter, it's called the School of Athens as a whole. It's celebrating all the thinkers that has created the idea of Renaissance. If you do that, then you see the one image right there of the image of Ibn Rushd. See, and that is amazing how it was. And finally, we have this so-called Western science. Western science that has a paradigm and language and also ideology that is what is controlling us these days, including also the invention of the computer, invention of the cell phone, invention of this and that. Of course, this one here it's not because of the contribution of Ibn Haytham, which is a Muslim on optics, then we would not have this. But what is dominant now is science that has been controlled by corporations, industry, huge corporations. In fact, they also have law that patent to patent whatever they found in the Amazon that can cure cancer. They quickly patent all these species. I mean, again, this is about control, domination. So, are we actually taking in science from the West and not looking at it critically and using that as a fuel? As a tool to design policies up to the point now that sometimes we do not know whether we are moving in the right direction. All right.